ladies. How's everybody doing? What's up?
Hello.
Hey, well, welcome. I want to welcome, first of all, our virtual friends that are joining us right now. On the other side of the screen, we just wanted to create this awesome forum and this panel discussion to have just great connection and to find joy, right? So thanks for joining us, right? And welcome to the sisterhood. There is strength in the sisterhood, and this panel is just awesome. We are all different backgrounds, but we have the same heart connection towards God. And our prayer is that you guys are edified and encouraged during this time. And our first topic, we kind of had our first little commercial last week, but now we're going to do our full on discussion here talking about friendship. And friendship is such a gift. Friendship is such a gift that God gives us, right? And I want to read out of Proverbs 27:9 really quick. It says, "Oil and perfume make the heart glad, and the sweetness of a friend comes from his earnest counsel." And I just want to say, you guys are some of my close friends too, and just how I lean on you guys for some earnest counsel. And I just want to say thank you for pouring into me and for loving on me. And I just know that God's going to use you guys in this moment right now to speak to the women on the other side that are listening right now. Because, right, friendship is hard. Friendship can be messy, and it's tough. So let's just jump right in here, okay? Can you guys introduce yourselves one at a time and talk about what you guys do at Valiant Church and your name? Go ahead.
Hi, guys. I'm Natalie. Daniel and I, my husband and I, we do the worship at Valiant Church, and we're also part of our young adults small group, and we just love every bit of it.
Awesome. All right, who else we got on here?
Hi, I'm Holly. I am on the leadership team at Valiant, and I have a mom small group that we're pretty excited spans across churches, but that's what we do, right? We are the church, and just other women's activities within Valiant.
Awesome.
Hello, I'm Sherry, and me and my husband do the online pastoring for Valiant Church, and then on the leadership team and the sisterhood, which we love.
Yes, awesome.
My name's Renee, and my husband Howie and I lead a care group in our homes for some of the older crowd, our age, the older, really cool people.
Super cool.
Seasoned.
Yeah, y'all are always busting out a party and having so much fun. I know that a fact. All right. Well, hey, let's just jump right into this, okay? We took some of your questions that you had. I'm talking to our crowd right now. You guys submitted some questions on friendship. And so we're just going to hit a few of those. I've got about 5 different questions we're going to go through, and we're going to hear from the panel. And our whole goal is that you guys would get godly wisdom and insight. We want to be making sure that this is godly and biblical. So these guys have done a little research, and obviously, we all have gone through some stuff with friends, and it's been messy. So we're going to talk from that standpoint as well, just some real life experiences. So let's just jump right in, okay? First question is to you ladies is, what is your favorite thing to do with your friend, your bestie for the restie? What do you guys like to do?
Eat.
Yes. Yeah.
I love to go get some chips and queso and talk it out with my besties. That's like my favorite thing to do. Like, just to go, which is like been really hard lately, obviously, because we've just been having like FaceTime dates. But the queso is still present, friends. You gotta have the queso.
Gotta have the queso.
Yeah.
So yeah, going out to eat with my friends, or like going out and just talking, having time to talk. Like, not just go to a movie where you can't talk to each other, but talk to each other. I love that.
Cool. Now,
I tried to, when I saw this question, I went back and forth. It was like, I don't know, is it long runs? Because I love to go on a long run with my friend, because then you're just like together for a couple of hours, plugging away, and all the thoughts come to you. Because when you run, you get so creative and you think all the things. So when you have someone there with you, you're sharing that moment together and all those creative thoughts. Or if it's sitting around the campfire, I've got this old group of friends we've had forever, and we just like to sit around the fire at the camp house and just talk. And it all came back around to talking. I like to do things where I can just sit and talk.
Yes.
There you go.
Women.
Yes.
Yes. That's awesome. How about you, Renee?
Yes, I would also fit into that talking category. Anyone who knows me knows that I talk quite a bit. And I also like to do active things, like anything involving a ball, any kind of sport I like to do with friends, particularly tennis, and dancing is one of my all-time favorite things to do with friends. So yeah, but definitely involves lots and lots of talking. I'll talk while we run errands. I'll talk and help you spend your money when you're shopping.
Yes, we are good at that.
Yeah.
How about you, Sherry?
I love to have everybody over at the house. That's like my number one thing. I'm the hostess with the mostess, and just love to cook, and we have campfires and all that kind of stuff. I could never run, Holly. I can't do any of that. I don't think creative thoughts would come to my brain at all. Actually, bad thoughts. But I love to have everyone over and just hang out. So that's fun.
That is awesome. I think one of my favorite things is like going to the beach and just setting up my chairs and then watching the kids play, but you know, you're still having interrupted conversation, but you know, just a season of life of, you know, enjoying each other's kids and that kind of a thing. And obviously we're so blessed to live by the beach here, right? We love some beach and some Schlitterbahn. I'm going to be the first one in line when Schlitterbahn opens. All right. Hey, question number 2. Let's go along here. What do you guys do? We had another question here. What do you guys do when you have a misunderstanding with a friend?
Right? I think it's important to address it like as quick as possible too, because I feel like the longer it goes, the harder it gets, you know, to get there. And so I kind of like to say, hey, you know, it doesn't have to be confrontational. It can just simply be, hey, what's going on here? You know, let's figure this out. So I feel like addressing it is kind of the number one thing to do, and very quickly, as quick as possible.
Yes.
That's really good.
It is.
Yeah. I've been there where I sat on it and I thought, maybe they just think this. Well, maybe they're doing that because I did this, or maybe, and then I have the conversations in my head with when they say this to me, I'll say that. Yeah. And then once I ever finally address it, I find out that is not what they were thinking at all.
Right.
I was arguing down the wrong path with myself.
There you go.
That's
so true. Yeah. I think with me, a lot of times now that I've gotten older, I used to just confront. I'm very, I'm not confrontational, but like if we have a problem between somebody I love, I'm going to go to you immediately and I'm going to be like, hey, what is going on? I'm not going to be like, you know, just kind of beat around the bush about it. I'm very like straightforward when it comes to those things because I don't want to have that issue or that problem. And so I'm usually very just like in their face about it, which most of my friends know of me. But up until not that long ago, I had a friend who went through some really rough relationship stuff. And it was very, very difficult because I basically lost them during that time. They chose their relationship over a lot of our friendships, not just me. And I had to learn how to give that person to God. I had to trust God with my friendship, which sounds so like duh, but you don't think of it that way, you know?
It's hard to do
now,
in the moment, yeah.
Oh man, and now being a mom, I'm like, oh, that's why you showed me how to do that, because I have to just give Jack straight over to God to all the things I don't understand or know. So in misunderstandings or confrontations now, I have to pray about it first and then get to it.
Solid.
Just be sure that it's what God is telling me to do about that situation. And that's it. That's what I am trying to do now.
Yeah, that's solid.
It is. That's great advice. I think too, just like God always wants to do a work in us too. Like there's a misunderstanding, but for us to go to God first and say, okay, how did I contribute to this? Like, did I rub this person the wrong way? What did I say? And then, take it off of, how they've hurt me, but maybe I hurt them too in the same standpoint. And that's why it's so important to, over communicate, right? And just
that's so good.
To God first.
Yeah. Humble down, y'all. Humble down.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say about that topic? Y'all good? I think that's great. Okay. Question number 3. Here we go. This is a good one. This is huge. How to still be like Jesus when friends are making unwise choices that you don't support. You don't want to give up on people, but you also want to maintain boundaries. So how do you guys go about doing that?
Silence. This is the hardest one, right? I'll kick it off. I have so many thoughts on this, but I try to, I've got the worldly feelings, right? Because everybody has their initial gut reaction. Walk away, right?
Right.
Didn't your mama always tell you one bad apple will spoil the whole bunch? Walk away. But the more I read the Bible and the more I try to be as God intended me to be, I find out that walking away entirely isn't always the answer. And but there's a line, right, between what you're going to allow in your day-to-day life so that it's not influencing you and your decisions, but, how to love somebody through it. And I go back to my favorite friendship in the Bible, Jonathan and Daniel. So if you read in 1 Samuel, I'm obsessed with David, right? Not Daniel, David. I looked at you and said Daniel. Yeah,
Daniel,
David,
yeah.
Jonathan and
That's
David.
what I was like.
Yeah, wrong guy. No, I'm obsessed with David. I think he is just the coolest. And so whenever Saul was trying to attack David, right? So Saul wants to kill David. Jonathan is Saul's son. Jonathan is also David's best friend. Oh my goodness, what are you going to do? My dad's trying to kill my best friend. This is a problem, right? Huge problem. So David in this instance hadn't done something wrong, but I look at that as a basis of friendship. So what does that tell me that God thinks a friend should do for another friend? And so Jonathan went in and he told David. So he gave him the news of what his father was going to do, right? Yes, he's trying to kill you. You need to go on the run. He didn't go on the run with him. He didn't go to battle for him.
Right.
He gave him all the information he could give him, and then he sent him on his way.
Right.
And I think that that's something that when our friends are doing things that we know are just going to lead them down a path of destruction, we need to give them the information in the most kind and loving way possible. Give them the information, but then we can't fight that battle for them. We can't be the one bearing swords for them while they are fighting their battle.
Wow.
That's good. That's
incredible. Yeah.
Very good.
Hard.
It is hard. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, does anybody else want to add to that with their own experiences, walking through some messy stuff?
Renee's making a face.
Come on, Renee.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so if we're talking about friends, let's say, from church, and you're thinking that people should kind of have the same values as you, and then you realize that this person is bringing poison or toxicity into your life and into your circle, it is okay to still love that person and speak to that person, but at some point you have to put up a boundary to protect your inner circle, your family, and that group from the influence of a person that's bringing in things that you don't want brought in.
I see.
So you can still love that person and care about them and talk to them, but you may not be able to be the closest
Yeah.
friends with them because of what that brings in.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So good, Renee. And I think it's so important, like, because we can love from a distance, we can love from afar and encourage. And, the Bible is so clear just about not casting judgment, right? Like, we may not agree with what they're doing. We can love them through that. And everybody, God is have them on their own journey, right? Like, we can't make them wish that they rise to the potential of what we think and the standards that we think they should be living, when it's up to them and God to do that. And so we just need to always have that door open so that God can use us to speak into their lives whenever they can hear that, or just to not give up on people, though, right? Too, I mean, to fight for those individuals that are struggling, and just to not ever close that door. I think it's so important how Jesus would walk through that.
That's really good.
Hard to do.
And there is, I think that the cases are probably rare, but there are the cases where it really, you have to put up the wall of saying, I can't, because it is going to hurt. You can't let yourself go to the level, you can't let yourself fall into a trap of sin if you're around somebody constantly, and it's going to cause you to fall. Right. But you can still, I'm going to come back to my David and Jonathan, you can go to the Father on their behalf. Yeah. And that's, Jonathan went to Saul and said, hey, he hadn't done anything. Like, let's love him. He went to his Father on his behalf. And so we can go to our Father on our friend's behalf.
It's really good.
Even if we have to put up the wall of, I can't be the one to carry your backpack for you, we can still go to the Father on their behalf.
Yes.
Man. That's so good.
It is so good. I think it's easy for like us Christians too, and like when we're close to people, to get just like kind of self-righteous and judgy hey, holier than thou, and I mean, we have sin and mess just like everybody else does. It's just looks different, right? And
100%.
I always have to keep that in the forefront of my mind too. My sin is different. It's not as reckless maybe, or
visible.
Yeah, visible.
Not as visible.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's still,
I think that's a lot of people's issues, is they think your sin is different than mine because mine's invisible to everyone else, and yours is so open and in front of everyone. And, that's more honest than it is when we're doing invisible things, whatever. So, oh Lord.
Yeah, I want to read really quick. James 4:11 out of the Amplified Bible says, "Believers, do not speak against or slander one another. He who speaks self-righteously against a brother or judges his brother hypocritically speaks against the law and judges the law. If you judge the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a judge of it." And we're not hired by God to judge people, right? Like, we're hired to love. And yes, we are not to go down that path too and get ourselves stuck in that poison and toxic, environment, but to not wall up either, though, because God wants to use us to make that impact in that friend when that friend is ready to hear again, right? I don't know.
Yeah, that's good.
Anything else you guys want to add to that? Tough question.
Tough.
No. We're good. All right. Number four, how important is forgiveness in our friendships?
I think forgiveness is huge. I think it's and I think there's lots of ways you can forgive. I think a lot of people feel like they have to accept, they accept the hurt, but they have to carry it and keep it there, and they're not able to set up some distance. I mean, I've got some really good friends that we were really good friends, and it just, our pathway went to a way, there was so much hurt involved that it was actually better for me to distance myself and just understand I had boundaries, and it was okay for me to make those boundaries. I had to forgive them for me, not for them. And the reality was, there really wasn't even ever an apology or anything. It just happened. And it continued to happen. And I finally reached a point where it's look, I'm going to forgive them, but I'm going to also step back in a place where I can set some boundaries up and
to not be hurt again.
And
right?
and allow some healing, because that can stir other things up, and I didn't want that one relationship to spoil so many other things. There were so many other things involved, so I just decided at that point where I was like, I'm going to forgive this, but I don't have to expose myself anymore. I don't have to be their best friend anymore. I don't have to. So there's lots of ways to forgive. Sometimes forgiveness just comes and everything goes right back to normal, and I think that's obviously the best way to do it, because it's your friendship, right? But then there's some friendships where it just might not turn out that way, and the expectation can be hard, to accept. But I really feel like forgiveness looks a little bit different depending on the circumstance. Not quite just always this, I'm going to forgive you, and then we're going to be right back to being good friends, and everything just like becomes perfect again. It doesn't always work out like that.
Yes, that's
so
true.
I have an example where I became kind of an outcast, and I didn't understand why. Obviously I had done something, but I didn't know what it was. And
you're like, hello.
it was just like completely beyond me. So, I'm a get it out in the open person. And so at the first opportunity that I had, I just marched right up to the person and said, I really feel like I've done something or offended you in some way. And if I have, I would like to apologize for that, because whatever it was, I certainly didn't mean to do it. I value your friendship and just hope that you'll forgive me.
That's so good.
And they were so taken back by it that they said they made it less like important than what it actually had seemed to be. They're like, oh no, I just realized that you had a lot going on, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been treating you that way. So there was something, like I did something. But then once I approached the person and apologized, they were more than willing to forgive me, and the relationship was made right again. So whatever it was bad enough to make not one, but 3 people kind of cold shoulder me a little bit. And so it's like when you've got that coming at you, and you're the nicest person ever.
I mean,
right? No. So like I said, I talk a lot. I probably said something, and didn't realize it, or I don't know. So
story of my life.
We got past it, and it was really good. But also in Proverbs 27:6, it says that wounds from a friend can be trusted. So that if you're willing to let your friend wound you by telling you what you did, then you can trust that, even if it makes you sad or makes you cry or makes you have to like look at yourself.
Right.
Those kind of wounds can be trusted. So.
Yeah.
So good.
That is really good.
So good. Anybody else want to add more to that, or should we jump to number 5?
I mean, just the solid of forgiveness, that whatever relationship it is, like if you carry unforgiveness, the only person you're hurting is yourself. I mean,
Amen.
Like Jesus said, like forgive all the millions of times, 7 times, 7 times, whatever. But if you carry it, it's evil in your own heart, and it's not, you're not fixing anything with them. It's but to your point, Natalie, it doesn't always mean that it looks different in different situations. Or Sherry, you said that in different situations. Yeah. Got to let it go. Be like Elsa.
Let it go. Yeah, that's a good point. Always, in all of these questions, what do we want to point to? It's Jesus. Jesus is our example, and he literally forgave while he was on the cross, being crucified by these people, by us, and he's like, Lord, forgive them. That's what they're doing. Yes. So even when our friends, obviously, is forgiveness important in human relationships? Obviously, it's everything. It's like one of the last things Jesus did on this planet to other humans. So if we believe that this is truth, then let's take Jesus as for his example, and we have to forgive no matter how many times we've been crucified.
It doesn't mean that you're letting them off the hook, or like that your pain is being diminished, or you're overlook that.
It's not permission it's not permission for what happened to you. It is freedom for yourself. Yeah. Totally.
Yes, absolutely.
Amen.
Sorry, I know we're on a time schedule.
No, let's go number 5. This is huge. I have lots of friends, and I mean, I've struggled with this as well. How do you have friendship with God when he feels so distant, or like he's forgotten you and your earnest prayers? It's hard to have that kind of connection with a loving God when he doesn't feel so loving sometimes, right? Anybody want to speak to that?
I mean, just from my experience, if God feels distant, it's the same as when a friend feels distant. It's because I'm not talking to them. And if God is distant to me, it means that I am not positioning myself to hear from him. And, you know, with a friendship, you can feel like, man, is she even my friend anymore? And then you reach out and you talk, and it's just like, no time has gone by, and they're you know, it happens in friendships. And God is our friend. And if you can't expect to hear from him if you're not talking to him in a way where you can listen. You know, I think I don't know, I try to like parallel it with every relationship in my life. If all I'm doing is reaching out to you when I need something, then that's not good friendship. It needs to so I think that positioning and then being consistent about that. If I feel like I'm not hearing from him, if I will consistently put in, you know, for me, it's an hour. I don't know why that's a magic time number. If I spend 1 hour reading his word and I do it consistently, day after day after day, he always comes back around and I feel his presence. Always. Yeah. I mean, he was there all along. It's just whether we're reaching for him or not.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good, Holly. That's really good.
I agree with Holly a lot. And I think one of the ways to kind of enter into that, and Nat, you probably would have a lot to say, but I feel like worship, and we've been challenged, right, in the last few weeks to get in there and do it on our own, you know, at home by ourselves. Like, I love worship and I miss it so much. That's and the gathering of everyone together, to me, there's so much that happens in that moment. And I missed it tremendously, but God's been dealing with me on, you can find me on your own. You know, you can do that on your own, in your own house, in your living room, you know, thanks to people like Nat who get up there and actually lead us a little bit, right? Because we need it. Trust me, I do. So I love that. But I mean, I really do feel like worship can be a real trigger for that. If you're really, really struggling with that, start there. Start with the worship and really get yourself in there. Really, you know, allow God to come in that moment. I think it changes a lot of things. So thank you, Nat, for what you do. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Love that beautiful anointed voice.
Thank you so much.
That
blesses me. Obviously, I think for this particular question, I think there are more than one avenues to the Lord. And so when you feel like he's far away, it's not on him. The Bible says that when we draw near to him, he draws near to us. So I think for a lot of people, they're like, I have been praying nonstop. I've been saying, God, I need this. Like, my husband's doing this. My friend doesn't talk to me. My friend is away from you. I can't. And then I feel like I can't talk to you. I don't know you. I don't know what's going on. But all you've ever been doing is going blah, 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 towards him. And there's that where you can talk to him. And there's another side of it, like in any friendship, where you shut your mouth and you listen for him. And it's not always this audible voice, you know, telling you what's going on, but you'll start to actually hear peace within.
Yeah.
And I think that for a lot of people, I mean, the Bible also says that my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And for a lot of that, it's people just don't know. You may not even know that you can just sit still and focus in on the presence of God coming toward you, being near to you, you being near to him and him being near to you. So I think prayer is one way, being quiet and listening for him is one way, and worship, of course, is huge, huge, huge. And just pour your heart out to him. I mean, he wants to know it. He wants to hear it. And don't you feel closer to a friend when you tell them like what's really on your heart? Like, I just want to be loved.
Yeah.
That's, I think, you know, when you really say like the truth of the root of your problems,
Yes.
I just want to be loved, you know, and I think that's, especially for women, I think that's the main root of a lot of things. You know, I'm insecure because I want to be loved for who I am.
Yep.
I'm, you know, I feel weird about my friendship with this person. She's not talking to me because I just want to be loved by her and I want to love her back. You know what I mean? Like, these things, there's root problems, and that's what God deals with. So I think that's another thing that we have to do, is be sure, like, have conversations like this with other women and other people who get in the Word, who can give us those little things, those little tidbits of knowledge that they've found first, and we can take with us, and our relationship gets stronger all around, friendships and our friendship with God.
Yeah.
So good. So good, you guys. This has been yet another great time to see your faces, and uplifting, encouraging. We hope that we spread some joy in your homes, and got some clarity maybe on some issues that were a little messy or foggy in your head. Our prayer is that the Holy Spirit really just spoke through us, and so we just hope that you guys felt connected to us today. And our next topic, if you guys want to put in a question, we're going to be talking about being healthy, mind, body, and soul. So hit us up with some health questions. You know, we've got some Zumba instructors here, and Young Living, and you know, we've all got different ways that we try to keep us healthy, mind, body, and soul. So we want to say thanks for joining us today, and we're signing off. We love you guys.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
Next
Love
time.
you.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.